You guys, welcome to the Crystal Crawford Show. I got 18 questions from y'all on this week's topic. Ain't no way I'm gonna get to all of them. Well, for those of you that I haven't met before, I'm Christel Crawford, and I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. And this is Access Consciousness tools for your earballs and your eyeballs and your life balls and all the balls. This is tools for your all the balls. I called this week's episode, hey, what the F is actualization and how do I do it? Oh, somebody's saying hi to me as me. Hi, Maxie. Hi, guys. Hi, Saskia. I adore you. Hi, Julia. Hi. Okay, so you guys sent in a ton of questions. I will not get to them, but that was Catherine, awesome. Hi, Guy. What I want to tell you right now is that I'm going to be doing a free call on this week, actually, called What the F is Actualization. So if I don't get to your question today on actualization, you can come to the free call and we will get to it there. It turns out this is a pretty hot topic. Like, how do you get things to, what is getting things to show up? What's that conversation? What do you have to be willing to be, do, have, create, or generate? So I'm going to start out with a little preface, and then I'm jumping into your questions because there's so many. Hi, Megan. Hi, Kathy. I do a live class on this around the world, and if you want to come join me in one of my classes, it's an amazing 2.5-day class, probably the most amazing class I've done so far. And it's everywhere around the world right now. I'm going to be in Europe, I'm going to be in India, I'm going to be in, I don't have any in North America yet, but anyway, go check out accessconsciousness.com/Crystal Crawford, and you can find all the classes listed there. So actualization is the showing, the what it takes to show things up. Here's the summary. Choice creates. Now, a lot of us have heard that phrase for a really long time, but we have been like, okay, well, choice creates, so now what? But I don't think I really got that choice creates until recently. Literally, the moment that you choose something, the moment that you choose to go to a class, the moment that you choose anything, the moment you have the choice to have a sandwich, that choice creates the thing. The choice to have a sandwich creates the sandwich. Now what's left is the institution and the actualization of the sandwich. And there's infinite possibilities for how the sandwich could show up, right? So that's a really, like, the sandwich example is really great because it's really super easy. But where we go into fucking weird shit with all of the things is when we think and we make things. Oh yeah, in Lyon, I'm gonna be in France. So exciting. When we make one choice bigger than another choice, or we make anything more complicated than actualizing a sandwich. I have a new class that I'm doing around the world too called Money is Tofu, because money is just the tofu and we project onto it the thing that makes it hard or easy or great or small or whatever it is, and it takes on that flavor because we made it that flavor. Money is tofu. Well, choice creates. So the choice to have something, the choice to be something greater, the choice to be anything is Saskia, you have to come to France. I'm also going to be in Vienna, so that's a little closer. I'll be in Vienna at the end of May with this class, also with Unstoppable. Creates. Okay, so let me dive into some of your questions because I think this is going to inform the conversation, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm going to start at the beginning. The very first question that I got is, how do I actualize a romantic relationship? And truly, if we had time together and this was a private session, I would go into, well, what does a romantic relationship mean to you, and what have you decided about that? And we would get into all those things. You may want to get into all of those things with yourself, because actualizing anything is getting clear on what you're choosing. What are you choosing to actualize? And I would say in this area of relationship and dating and men, and this is an area that I've had to really dynamically explore for myself. Hi, guys. And it has changed a lot over the years. Like, what I would like to actualize has changed as I change. And so with some of this stuff, like romantic relationship, we make it really broad. We do the same thing with business. I'd like more business. Well, what do you mean by that? What is it exactly you're choosing? What is it exactly you're choosing with relationship is a pretty broad conversation with yourself, because what you'll find if you're brave enough to go there is you probably don't know. And then you'll find that you've probably want to actualize a lot of fantasies that you think should be real. And then you'll find, and then you'll find, and then you'll find. Because some of this stuff, like romantic relationship, is this broad topic that we think we should want because we saw a movie somewhere, and I'm talking about myself here, you know, and that looked so good, and we want that same dream as our life. But we haven't looked at in great detail and with great awareness and consciousness what that means to us and what it is we're actually asking for and what we would really like to ask for. Hi, Maya. I am coming to Slovenia. You have to come. I would love to hug you guys. If you guys are anywhere near Slovenia, Vienna, I'm going to be there in May, the end of May and the beginning of June. I'd love to see you. So how do I actualize a fucking romantic relationship? That's right. Not just a romantic relationship, a fucking romantic. That's a better romantic relationship than a non-fucking romantic relationship. You want to get clear. Now, if you come to the class, we actually go through this in great detail. We get clear on all the energies. But you can do this for yourself. Gary says put together a list of 8 things that you really would like to have and 8 things that you definitely do not like to have. Because if you don't put together the list of the 8 things you do not want to have, you will create what you'd like and what you don't like simultaneously. I can attest to that. I have lots of stories about this. This is a whole other show. Okay, so that's the short version on that one. Now, Jeanette has a question. She goes, what questions can I ask to know what is mine to actualize? Hi, Claudia. Hi, Betty. What questions can I ask to know what is mine to actualize and what other people's are? What's other people's? And this is a great question because you guys, you know, if you've watched any of my shows, if you've watched any of the Access Consciousness videos, that you're psychic. 99.9999999% of everything you think, feel, emote, or have a point of view about isn't yours. Same with your desires. Now, this is really interesting. Desires are interesting because even the How to Become Money workbook talks about how an infinite being doesn't have desires. None. They only choose to experience things. But we keep insisting and flowing emotional need into our insistence that is reality, and we call that desire. And I remember for a really, really long time, I kept looking for the solidity of desire. Like, what do I truly desire was a question, you know, that I kept asking myself and kept searching for. And I couldn't find anything because guess what? I don't truly desire anything. I just really like certain things, as it turns out. I didn't know that. But if you go after looking for that solid, like passionate, intense energy of desire, the more tools you use, you might find that you don't find it. And that's because an infinite being doesn't really have any desires. We just have choices that we want to make. We do, however, have senses of futures that we'd like to actualize, though. And I'm doing a lot of things that, like, if you guys haven't come and played within the Awareness Challenge group yet, it's really dynamic. And one of the first things I invite you to download is a clearing that I got from Gary Douglas that I'm calling the Core Awareness Challenge, but it's just what would it take for me to be willing to live the energy of what I'd like my life to be so it can show up for me in totality. And it goes on. And when you do that for 30 times a day for 30 days, it begins to empower you with a sense of the energy that you'd like your life to be. That's really different than desire. That sense of what you'd like your life to be doesn't have any solidity to it. It doesn't have any excitement to it. What it does and will have is a sense of enthusiasm to it. And one of the things I read recently that Gary talked about in Salon de Femme is he's like, I want to create a different point of view around excitement and enthusiasm. Because excitement is a limited, finite possibility. You get excited about something, and you're really excited, and then it's done, right? It's like this, But enthusiasm is an ongoing possibility. And so in the energy pull class that I'm doing right now, which you can still join if you'd like to, every single day we're getting up and we're doing this particular pull that's giving us a sense of what it would be like to wake up and do something every day that creates money or that other people call work, that has a tremendous amount of enthusiasm to it. And that is the sense of what you'd like your life to be like. So to go back to her question of what questions can I ask to know what's mine to actualize? And it's like, well, just ask. Like, I mean, one, you can just ask, truth, does this belong to me, yes or no? If it's no, return it to sender. But the other clue that I always have is that when I think something's mine, hi Catalan, hi Simi. when I think something's mine and it's not showing up, or I just know like something, and I've bought it as mine, it doesn't do the thing. Like there's no real continual creation of that in my world, right? I want to say it doesn't show up, and I used to say that a lot, like you'll know that it's not yours if it doesn't show up. But I've chosen a lot of things lately that I just know aren't, I mean, I don't know when they're going to show up, right? They're somewhere in the future, and that's cool. But I would say it doesn't do that thing where you're just, you know it, you chose it, you know it's occurring, and now you're just in the process of instituting and actualizing it, right? Anything that's not yours is going to have that sense of like, not that. So also you can just look for clues of like, mine, not mine. Third thing on that is like, even if it's not yours and you're going after actualizing it, if it's not yours, it won't it won't do the thing. I think that's kind of part B of that point. So part 4 is you can't do it wrong. You can't fuck it up. So let's say you actualize somebody else's reality. Well, that was really nice of you. Thank you. And what did you get out of that you haven't yet acknowledged? What was the value of that for you? There's still so much jam-packed value in that for you that it doesn't really matter. So it's just being willing to be more aware and going, well, what would I truly like to choose here? If I were really being me, what would I choose? Okay. How to know the difference and what can I ask every day to actualize it? You guys need to read Right Riches for You, because I've been going back into that book and there are so many really good daily questions to ask in there for this process. And one of them is waking up every day and going, what can I be, do, have, create, or generate to actualize things now and in the future right away? What can I be, do, have, create, or generate to actualize things now and in the future right away? So that's what you can ask every day. And what question can I ask? Which thing wants to be actualized when? Out of the godzillion ideas I have, how to know that what I do today is creating the most, and that what does not get worked on or has my attention will come at a later time. And here's the thing, you guys, you want to POC and pod number one where you're trying to get it right, because we're all addicted to getting it right. None of us actually want to be free. We all want to be right. So I would first go, well, everywhere I'm trying to get this right, wrong, good, bad, pod, POC, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And she is doing the awareness challenge. I would say do the awareness challenge so that you have a sense of the energy that you'd like your life to be, because that can be the guiding thing for you. Does this match that? Yes or no? No? Okay, cool. What am I aware of here? That's such a great question. What am I aware of here? If I were the one driving this ship, what would I choose? Is another thing that I do. And I've been choosing a lot of that lately in my business and in my life and in my finances, of like really getting that nobody else is going to drive this ship. So where am I driving it? If there's no right and there's no wrong, where am I going? Because that's where I'm going, because that's where I'm going. And that's been empowering me in a really, really, really different way. So you might want to play with that and see what shows up for you. Okay. Christy Hudson. Okay, so I put in the email a quote from Gary. Hi, Danielle. And I put this is from Gary Douglas, every choice creates, and every creation brings something into actualization. What choices are you making? What actualization are you choosing? What would it be like if you were willing to be the source for greater possibility? So she's like, this is a huge wedgie. How do I get beyond the sub-unconscious belief or point of view that I can't and don't deserve the actualization of greater possibilities in my life? I'm not clear on what the unconscious points of view are exactly. I'm just aware of them lurking there. I POC and podded it, I destroyed and uncreated it, but it still feels like heaviness and contraction. What's possible? You guys, there's so much in each one of your questions. I could do like a whole fucking day on each one. The first thing you guys, you know how we talk about in the very beginning of Access Consciousness that what's light for you is true for you and what's heavy is a lie? I think so many times we forget that as we go forward. Like what's light is true and what's heavy is a lie. So she goes, well, I POC and potted, but there's still heavy. That means there's just a lie there. That's all that means. It's not even that you have to POC and pod more, although you can. And if you guys don't know POC and pod, it's the clearing statement, which goes right, wrong, good, bad, pod, POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And I do a lot of facilitation with people. And one of the things that I find very prevalent is as we are processing something that feels stuck, someone will say, well, it still feels heavy. And all I ask is, well, what's the lie? Oh, the lie is this. Okay, great. All of a sudden it's light. So what's the lie? And most of the time the lie is that we are lying to ourselves about how great we are not. Most of the time it's some version of we're lying to ourselves about how pathetic we are, how not great we are, how we can't, because those are all lies. What's really true about us is we are money, we're power, we're awareness, we're creativity, we're all that. That's what's really true about us. That's what's light. But we keep going into the lie to try to find the lie to get to the light. You don't have to try to find the lie to get to the light. You get to just be light. You just get to be aware there's a lie there. Oh, it's a lie. Okay, great. If it's a lie, it means it's not true. Next. It can be that simple if we let it be. I love it. Cool. So how do I get beyond the sub-unconscious belief or point of view that I don't deserve the actualization of greater possibilities in my life? You really have to be willing to go, well, I hear me say that as if it's a fact. I don't deserve this. I say that like it's fact. I believe it like it's a fact. Belief requires what? What is belief, actually? Belief is, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to believe this. Really, like we could create stories why we believe things, but really belief is like, I just believe it, right? Do you, or what do you know? Does deserving and belief have anything to do with knowing? No, they're all based on judgment. For you to know whether or not you deserve something, you have to judge whether or not you deserve it. For you to know whether or not you believe something, you have to judge whether or not you believe it. For you to know something, it requires no judgment. For you to perceive something, it requires no judgment. For you to be something, it requires no judgment. And for you to receive something, no judgment. So what I would ask myself is like, what's beyond deserving and belief that I've never considered? What would being and knowing and perceiving and receiving be like here? And begin to ask a different question so that the universe can show you a different possibility. Okay, cool. So Rebecca sent in a question and she goes, I've been actualizing amazing stuff for the last few months, including luxury travel, and then wham! Several things I choose didn't actualize. And now I'm in a funk and confusion about next creation and choice. How do I keep expanding? So you're going to discover as you move forward in your life the places where you have been projecting and expecting things. You will discover this constantly. I discover it constantly still, where I get to be disappointed, and the moment I'm disappointed or I'm in a funk, I get to go, oh, I was totally projecting and expecting that that would show up in a certain way. That's the only time we choose funk, is when we projected and expected that something will show up in a certain way or at a certain time frame or at all in any way. And then we go into separation and judgment and rejection. That's what projections and expectations create, is separation, judgment, and rejection. So it's not wrong. You just kind of go, okay, cool. I projected and expected there. Well, what else is possible? One of the tricks that I use with myself a lot is, a lot of you are really, 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 really bright. Really, really, really like intelligent. And that's amazing. And you have all this capacity for, figuring things out and systems and organization, or your capacities go more in an artistic direction or whatever, but we all have this ability, and and I can overcomplicate something and make it hard in like 2.5 seconds. I know this about myself. So the thing that's changed that for me more dynamically than anything else is the clearing that I keep bringing up with the awareness-challenge.com, doing that, and also getting a sense of what success with something is for me. And what that does for me is when I start to look at, so what is success with this for me? This bigger thing, right? Like, what is success with my business for me? What would a successful trip be for me? What would a successful move be for me? When I get a sense of the bigger thing, because that like pulls me out, like the drone photos, it like makes me a drone, and I'm looking now at the bigger picture of what it would be like to succeed with this. I take myself out from in between the trees where you really can't see anything and all the little things seem to be giving you conflicting information. And I pull myself out to the bigger picture and go, okay, cool. So did that contribute something? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Did that contribute something? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. So what else can I choose now? What is it that I am attempting to actualize? And what can I choose now to move that forward? So what would you have to choose to pull yourself out of the trees and get a bigger sense of what it is that you are creating, what it is that you've chosen, what it is that you're creating and that you've already created, and what you can choose to institute and actualize it? Okay, Maxie said she answered her own question. That's awesome. So we've got another one here that goes, hey, gorgeous, for some reason, hi, Nydia, I keep on creating the same situation in a relationship over and over again. The other person thinks I'm judging. Of course, I do sometimes. But often, I just have an awareness of someone else judging themselves. I have to be so careful with every word I say that it's not fun. There's no fun left in the relationship. Is there anything I could try? Or should I just create with someone else? Oh man, y'all, this is a whole episode, this question. This question touches on everything I just dealt with in the last week. Oh my God. Yeah, keep on creating the same relationship over and over again. The one thing I'm going to say about this, because otherwise I will use the whole show on this, and I don't want to do that, is that I had to look at this for myself, and really, and I've had to do this with money. I'm doing it with relationship right now. I've done it probably in every area of my life, where I look at what's showing up and I look at the patterns that I keep creating, and I always end up needing, for my own benefit, to create a demand in my world that I change the foundation, the platform from which I'm functioning with something. And that's what you got to look at. If you keep showing up, if you keep actualizing the same sorts of things with money, you keep actualizing the same sorts of things with relationships, what needs to change, a different choice needs to be made at the base, at the platform level. You're currently functioning from a foundation of whatever the points of view are that are creating that foundation. That's the place where you're functioning from. That's where you're building your house over and over. You can destroy the house on top, but if the foundation never changes, then you build the house again and it's the same house. Different colors, different materials, whatever, but it's the same house. That's why we do the foundation class, to actually totally shatter your foundation so that you can have a different platform from which to create. And that's what I would say with anything around these big topics like body and money and relationship, is like, you all have foundations that you're currently creating from. And some of you are doing more of a platform, some of you are doing more of a foundation, you'll know. What could you choose that would change that? What could you choose? Not do it differently, not paint the walls a different color, not get rid of this one and get a new one, but actualizing a different reality. And for me, I started diving into Salon de Femme, violently, aggressively. I just threw myself into Salon de Femme, and I'm running all the loops, and I'm listening to the chapters and I'm recording them. And I really threw myself into a detailed exploration of that book, because for me, that's been even greater than Divorce with Relationships when it comes to the relationship conversation. So you just have to look at that for you. What could you dive into to create a different possibility for yourself when it comes to from where you're creating things and actualizing things? Okay. Cool. Here's another question from Sasha. I keep actualizing for others. Okay, cool. So, with that, it's just is it easier for me to actualize for others? Yes, no, yes. Okay. How can I make heaps of money doing that? Public service announcement, spoiler alert, there's no problems. Nothing that you're doing or actualizing is wrong. Not even if it's shit, because we're all actualizing something. We're all actualizing all over the map. We're either actualizing trauma and drama, or we're actualizing greatness, or we're actualizing ease, or we're actualizing happiness, or we're actualizing money. We're all actualizing shit all the time, because we're obsessive compulsive creators. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's who you are, as an obsessive compulsive creator. So we're all making these choices, unconscious and conscious, to show shit up. And here it is, here's the shit, right? So, some of us are actualizing difficulty in relationships constantly. Cool. Some of us are actualizing little bits of money. Some of us are actualizing for other people. None of it's wrong. It's all included. It's what would you really like to be actualizing that you're not? And what would you have to choose that's different? That's the conversation. And Sasha just asked me, am I willing to have everything that's available to me? My question back to Sasha would be, well, truth. And for you guys, are you willing to have everything that's available to you? Yes or no? That's a whole lot of no, Bob. Truth, am I willing to have everything that's available to me? Yes or no? No. Okay, cool. So it's not bad. It's just like, okay, well, what would it be like to be willing to receive everything that's truly available for me? You just begin to ask a different question. The moment you make a different choice and you begin to ask a different question, a new reality gets created. You just created a new reality. Now the universe gets to contribute to that new reality, what it's going to take, all the awareness required, people that can contribute to that. You get to ask, what would it be like? What can I choose to institute and actualize this reality? What would it be like to institute and actualize a reality where everything is available to me? That's such a cool question. Now the universe can contribute awareness for that to show up. This is so fun. All right. And sent in a question. She goes, how do I do it? How do I actualize? What if I don't know what I want to actualize? If you don't know what you want to actualize, I would do the Core Awareness Challenge. Oh, theawarennesschallenge.com from Gary Douglas. It's amazing. Do that challenge for 30 days. You will have such a different sense of what you want your life to be like. I'd like happiness and fun, but I mean, I have that. So what else? To be able to choose if I desire to fly economy or first class or drive a beater or a luxury car. I desire freedom to actualize my desires. Do I have a low ceiling of receiving? Raise the ceiling, break the ceiling. The how-to on that, please. I love this woman. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for being in my world. Does anybody else want to raise the ceiling, break their own ceiling, where it's like you look around this reality and the best of what this reality has to offer, you're kind of like, meh. I mean, you know, I could upgrade my wardrobe and drive, you know, I could fly first class. Okay, that's all great. I could, you know, have an easier time with men, all this reality stuff. I can upgrade that. That's fine. Okay, fine. What else? What else? And this is where Salon de Femme, that book Salon de Femme, has been such a fucking gift to me by Gary Douglas. What physical actualization of the creation of sustainable future am I now capable of creating and generating and instituting? I have been asking that every single day for like the last, I don't know how long, 2 months. And the things and the awarenesses and the energies and the people that are showing up in my world is like, hi, Ali. So beautiful, so beautiful. And it's finally, I want to say finally, because I feel like I've been waiting for this sense of things for like billions of years. But I wake up in the morning now and I just have this thrum of possibility and this knowing and this deep sense of where I'm going without the need for any direction. And so what's coming out of it is like a greater business and adding people to my business and different conversations with people outside of my business and, you know, more choice of living. And there's so many different facets to it that no longer have to do with just creating first class travel or none of that's wrong. That's all great. Like one of the questions from the Advanced Money Workbook is like, is money making my body easier? And basically, like, am I letting money make my body easier? Money is for my body. And like, am I using it that way? Or am I points of viewing it out of existence with my being? Like there's a whole conversation around that. That's included. And there's this like this greater sense of possibilities available now with questions like, what physical actualization of sustainable future am I now capable of creating and generating and instituting? If I were taking actions for the creation of future, if I were battling for the creation of future instead of battling against other things, what would I choose and what would be different? And those questions are the things you can start to add to your life. And I can't recommend reading Salon de Femme enough. Whether you are a woman or a woman in a man's body, read that book. Because that's going to start to open a door to a greater conversation that you have access to that you haven't yet chosen. And it starts to engage you. You start to engage in a different way with all the molecules, with all the futures, with all the things that are truly possible for you that not everybody has possible for them. So that would be my 2 cents on that. And now we're at the end of our time. But I actually think I got to most of the questions. There was a few that I didn't get to, but I will have a free call on this on Thursday that you can come and join me live on Zoom. And we can grow this conversation and nurture this conversation in your world. What have you already chosen that you've created, that you haven't acknowledged, that you can now choose to institute and actualize and ask the universe to show you what that is. What are you in the process of actualizing that you haven't acknowledged? What are you currently actualizing that you would like to choose something different with? And what's right about you that you're not getting? What capacities and choices do you have available to you that you just haven't yet chosen? Choice is the source for all creation. So what can you choose? What have you chosen? And what else is truly possible? This is just the tip. If you liked it, share it. Torture your friends. And I will see you on next week's show, and hopefully get to see you on the call that's coming out later this week. Have a great, great, great rest of your day. Bye.